So you want to play Roronoa Zoro. This is a leader that you're looking forward to in the next meta. Well, here is going to be a deep dive for you as a player and a fan of the leader. This is a really cool leader coming out of OP12 that is very strong green option that has a lot of aggression. It's a lot of fun, and sometimes if it's your favorite character, it's just really cool to play your favorite character. That's really something that a lot of One Piece players like, is just playing people that they actually like in the show. So Zoro is a fan favorite. I understand a lot of people are going to play Zoro, so you need to have counterplay ready for playing against other Zoros, playing into the big purple matchups that we're already dealing with, and there's so much to deal with in the format. So I'm going to give you the ins and outs, the curves, the first hands you should want to draw, some ideas into different matchups as we play games. I'm going to give you guys deck profiles and everything in between. So as always, subscribe, leave a comment down below, because it's a free way to support the channel. It literally just one like, it helps me out so much. It helps so many other people see these videos and learn how to play leaders. So thank you, and please leave that like. Let's keep moving forward with this leader. Of course, it's very important that you know the leader effect. This has a lot of ins and outs to it. It's a little more complicated than you may think. ×3 Dawn, activate main once per turn. Now, ×3 Dawn is 3 attached Dawn. I'm going to take this in a way to explain to beginner players, intermediate players, and pro players. So this has a little bit of room for everybody to learn something here, mainly targeting our intermediate and beginning players. So understand that is why I'm explaining that ×3 Dawn is when you attach the Dawn. Some people are going to comment, oh, that's super simple, you should already know that. Well, some people just don't. Some people, it's their first time playing, or they're trying to get into the game. This is for you guys. So ×3 Dawn means you attach those 3 Dawn, making your leader into an 8k attacker. Now, it is only when attacking. It's on your turn. Now, it says activate main once per turn, so you can only activate this effect once per turn. If this leader has battled your opponent's character during this turn, set this leader as active, then this card cannot attack characters with an original cost of 7 or less during this turn. It's very strong, meaning I can attack a character, restand this 8k attacker, and attack again. But I cannot attack into characters with a smaller, lower cost of 7 or less. So up ahead, I have some information for you regarding that. Basically, we see 3 options here on the board. We see a 6-drop 8k Jinbei, a Black Yellow Luffy leader, and a 9-drop 9k Mihawk. Ignore the color, ignore the fact that these cards cannot be played together at all. This is just for appearance. So just know, if somebody's playing Black Yellow Luffy and they have a Jinbei and a Mihawk like this in their deck, they are completely cheating. That's not how it should be. But what we can look at is the fact that Jinbei is a 6-cost 8k statted character. So we can put 3 Dawn on our leader and swing into this Jinbei. Now when we restand, we do not have the ability to attack this Jinbei again, because in the top left corner, as you can see right there, it is a 6-cost character, which is obviously lower than 7. So what we can do is restand our leader and attack that Monkey D. Luffy leader after, and we basically just get to attack a body on the board and into their leader, putting on a lot of aggression and forcing them to take life cards. Now, in certain matchups, when our opponent plays a lot of large characters, like this 9-cost 9k Mihawk, a fun thing we can do is actually, we can attack into this Jinbei and then attack into the Mihawk, because it's a 9-cost 9k statted character. Now, you do have to attach additional Dawn to this leader, but a cool thing with the leader effect is that you can always attach more Dawn. It's a minimum of 3 attached to the leader to use the leader effect, but you can always attach more than 3 and still use that leader effect. So we could actually put 4 Dawn on our leader, swing 9k into the Mihawk, restand our leader, and swing 9k more into Mihawk, or 9k into the leader if that card is KO'd, allowing us to attack bodies, get cards out of hand, and as you know, One Piece is a resource battle. So taking cards out of hand and then also attacking their life, you're doing the resource taking while also doing the resource taking. You're taking their life and cards out of their hand. It's a very strong leader. I would easily say Zoro is one of the top 5 leaders in the One Piece card game. Now, something I would like to mention here is that this leader has a few little tricky situations that you can actually take advantage of. So if you attack into your opponent for 5k, you can attach the 3 Dawn onto your leader later in the match, or later for another attack, and restand the leader. So you do not have to have the 3 Dawn attached the first swing to then restand your leader later. You can attack with just a 5k swing and then restand the leader later on, and it just forces cards out of hand. Now, I am giving you a very specific situations where this happens. This is more for intermediate and higher level players to know that they can just attack 5. If they attack into a character, they can restand the leader later on and swing in for 8, and you might not expect that. So it's just what professional players do sometimes to not show you all of their moves. So if I was attacking my Zoro Leader into a 3k body, I'm assuming you wouldn't counter out, and if you counter out to save a small body like that, I'm kind of happy with it actually. So instead of going 8k overkill, I'm testing to see, hey, which direction do you think I'm going to go? I'm showing you, hey, I'm not going to use my leader effect this turn, so now you're not worried about countering out as much. Then when I do swing 8k into your face, you didn't expect it. So just know there are some lines there that are important to think about as you can do this with your leader effect. This is very niche. This is more intermediate, higher level, but it's something you should know as you play against Zoro or play as Zoro. Now let's talk about curve. And curve, for those players who do not know, is talking about as you gain your Dawn count, what are you playing? Playing on curve just means if I'm at 5 Dawn, I'm playing a 5 cost character. If I'm at 8 Dawn, I'm playing an 8 cost character, so on and so forth. So we have some strong lines here going first and going second, usually starting with a searcher like the Perona here that looks at the top 5 and grabs a slash attribute character, which you can see is a lot of our deck. It also has the option to grab events, so something like Luffy's the man who's going to be king of the pirate, a card called Dead Man's Game we're going to go over in a little bit, Paradise Waterfall, and a few more. So just know this Perona is an amazing searcher similar to Hiyori, which we will talk about in a moment. Now we're going to talk about Perona here because it's a 1 cost character. We start with 1 Dawn on our first turn. Now we go into our second turn. We're going to be on 3 Dawn. We can play down a Tashigi or Koshiro for setting up later in the game. Koshiro is very strong as it saves 5 cost or lower statted slash type attribute characters from being KO'd by effects, while Tashigi saves any character that is green from being removed from the board. Would that be bottom decking, bouncing back to your hand? There are so many other options than just getting KO'd. So Tashigi is a better option, but you lose a 2k counter in hand, while Koshiro is a blocker that saves from being KO'd. It's really matchup dependent on what you need, but both of these are amazing options, or you can just swing the big 8 with your leader, or play out the 1 cost searcher we're going to talk about later, or more searchers in general. There's a lot of options in this deck. Now, going into 5 Dawn, we like to play down Cavendish or Tashigi depending on what our opponent has played. Cavendish is very strong for setting up for your late game, being able to restand 2 Dawn every single turn. It's very strong because it's an on player when attacking, restand 2 Dawn, basically meaning you get to reuse Dawn every single turn. You tap down 5 Dawn for Cavendish, you restand 2, and Cavendish only technically costs you 3 Dawn, as you can reattach those 2 Dawn to your leader, play out another Koshiro, play out another searcher. There are so many options. Tashigi is amazing for when your opponent has developed more of a board, and playing it on curve is not as strong as it is playing it on the turn after, as it rests down an original cost of 6 or less and adds 3 Dawn to your Zoro Leader, basically giving your leader effect for free. So if we were to go into our 7 Dawn turn where you see our Hody Jones, our Mihawk, and our Luffy is going to be the man who's going to be king of the pirates event, we would be playing it rather on those turns and setting up with Cavendish first, in my personal opinion. But there are situations where playing down this Tashigi on 5 is very good, and there's other options to play on 5 if you play different builds, and we're going to talk about those in a little bit for 5 Dawn options. Now we have Hody Jones, a 7-drop 8k that has rush, so it can attack on the turn it's played, and then it has the on-play ability to rest 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn cards, and then add the top card of your life to your hand. So if you are getting starved out from your opponent attacking you, you can add that life to your hand and basically get more resources to counter out with later to save your bodies on the board, and being able to rest down 2 characters gives you options to swing into. Now, you will not have your leader effect active if you play this on 7 Dawn, but it is an option as you get later into the game. These are more of just tech pieces that you may want to play. Usually you do want to develop that Tashigi when I mentioned it, especially if you have the Cavendish, because now you can play down the Tashigi, give 3 Dawn to your leader, rest a character, get Dawn back with Cavendish, and continue your lines that way, as you are very set up at this point. Getting some blockers and doing some other things, it really works. But these are just basically top-end options at the end here. Hody Jones, Mihawk, and Luffy's the man who's going to be king of the pirates. Now, Hody Jones is really good into your purple matchups. Mihawk is just good into any matchup later in the game. It has the on play to restand 4 of your Dawn, so it's a 4-drop 8k blocker, but stops the ability to play 7 cost or higher characters, which is totally okay. Honestly, after you put down a 8-drop 8k, you're really just trying to put the rest of your Dawn on your leader. It's really strong to develop your leader effect, and giving you back 4 Dawn to play an 8k body is insane. Now, to finish things off, of course you do have the 3-drop restand event. Most people just call it a restand event. It's pretty simple to call it that because it just restands your leader as active. So I can technically put 7 down on my leader, swing 12 at your leader, restand it for 3, and swing 12 more at your leader, giving you really strong options for your late game. Now let's talk about going second. Obviously you have the Koshiro we talked about earlier, but you also have the Hiyori Searcher. It is just a activate main searcher. You may rest 1 Dawn and this character. So it rests the character, meaning that it becomes a pseudo blocker, or basically as a pseudo blocker is, a character your opponent would rather attack than your leader, because if they do not attack your Hiyori, you just use it next turn and continue to search cards and add more cards to your hand. It's a very strong card. It's very, very good to get on second, and I enjoy it. Now, Kuina is very good to play on 4 Dawn. Activate main, you may rest this character. Rest up to one of your opponent's original cost of 4 or less. Then add 3 rested Dawn to your leader, and then you get your leader effect basically for free. Now you have another pseudo blocker on the board being the Kuina, and it's just another target for your opponent to swing, but it's also an option to help you swing into your opponent's board. It's not the best option because in early game, you're obviously not tapping down a 4, you're tapping down a 3, and it gives you a lot less value. But it's good in the mid to late game also to rest 4 costs that are like blockers that may handle your situation you're in. Lucky Roo, popping a 6,000 power character, or whatever it does at the moment. It gives you options though, and I enjoy Kuina. You can also tap down for 4 just to play Queen and have it for later. You do not have to use it on the turn it's played. As it is an activate main, you may rest this character, meaning you do not have to do it that main. You can do it next main, or whenever main you want to. You can use Kuina later, so that is an option. So then we go into the Cavendish to Shigi, and it's the same wombo combo that we go into in the late game. I think Kuina is a weaker option for sure. I like going first, getting the Cavendish as soon as possible, but that's just how I personally play. I like going Koshiro, and then a Searcher, and then swinging 5, and then playing the Cavendish, and then swinging 7, and then going to Shigi, and then going Mihawk, and then going Cavendish, Mihawk into a 5 cost to Shigi, to then swing 9 into a character. It's insane, the tempo and the strength of this deck altogether. Here is a look into a good opening hand. Now, of course, I didn't make this the perfect hand. That would be a little lame. You would just be like, oh, this is what I need every time. No, there's always different options for every deck, but this one gives you plenty of options altogether. Obviously, starting left to right, obviously a Searcher is always good just to find some pieces for certain matchups, as every matchup's different based on the color or the leader or the strategy you implement yourself as a player. So just having some kind of Searcher to find the events or slash attribute characters you need, Perona, is very good. Kuina, just to rest a character if we're going second, that's always good. Just something to rest a character to get our leader effect active is always nice in the early game. That, or the DMG, the Dead Man's Game, or the Hody Jones, or should get value in resting characters later on. I really like that. Now, the 5-drop turn is the most important, I would say, for Zoro, as Cavendish or Tashigi are both very good, highly statted bodies that really give you a lot of tempo in the late game, so having one of those in hand to develop on 5 is always good. The Mihawk is a great end-game option, as it's an 8k attacker and an 8k blocker, giving you 4 Dawn back as active. It just does so much for the game. If you have this and a Cavendish, you can swing 6 with the Cavendish and have 6 Dawn back, meaning you can put 3 Dawn on your leader, swing 8, use the restand event, swing 8, and then restand your leader with the leader effect, and then swing 8 again. So you can go Mihawk, Cavendish, 8, 8, 8. It's insane. And of course, you already have the Cavendish on the board. That's part of the swing with the Cavendish. So you go 6, 8, 8, 8, and then you get an 8, 8 blocker. So kind of insane. And then finally, Tashigi is a great option just to help with KO removal based decks, but also just some form of 2k counter, as you'll see a deck profile in a minute that does have all the cards we need. Tashigi isn't played in every single Zoro list. This is just an option. I personally don't play it, but other people do. So I wanted to put it out there as an option you could have in your deck and in your hand. There's tons of different ways to play Zoro, and so this is just a simple strategy and a simple opening hand that gives you a lot of options on curve. Of course, just remember that every single matchup depends on what your actual matchup is, and not every single one of these hands is going to be perfect for every single matchup. Now, here are the tech options or counterplays that you can add into your deck. Some of these cards are not necessary. Some of these cards are very necessary, like as in DMG or Hody Jones. One of those is necessary, but not both. Smoker's not necessary, Paradise Waterfall isn't necessary, but they are options on the board at the end of the day. I really enjoy Paradise Waterfalls as it's a counter event that says your leader or up to one of your characters gain plus 2,000 power during this battle, then set up to one of your characters as active, allowing us to be a little more aggressive or a little more cautious, as we can restand our characters that we don't want to be attacked into if we're very ahead and we need to stabilize by holding our board, keeping it aggressive. If we have a rusted Cavendish, we can restand the Cavendish to make sure our opponent can't swing into it and they can swing into our life instead, giving us more cards in hand. Or we can use it to restand a blocker like the Mihawk later in the game to then use the Mihawk as a blocker and get out of attacks. So we can also go aggressively into our opponent, or we can go kind of counterplay and our opponent won't expect us to have a blocker. They may go for lethal in a different kind of way because of the Paradise Waterfalls. It also has an amazing trigger to KO a 4-cost rested character, which is honestly just good in itself. Now we have Dead Man's Game here. You may rest 3 of your Dawn cards and the 1 that it costs in the top left. Rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn cards. Very similar to Hody Jones that we looked into later, as you can see the on play on the screen. And I think you either play DMG or you play Paradise Waterfall. But if you're playing Paradise Waterfall, you need to run Hody Jones, especially with the purple meta. It's very important that you have one of these. The strength of DMG is that it only costs 4 Dawn and it's a counter event, so you can get a 3k counter during the battle when you need it for that instead. Obviously 3k being more than the Paradise Waterfall, which is only a 2k counter. But the Dead Man's Game can only affect your leader and does not affect characters, as you cannot use it as counter for characters. Hody Jones, of course, is a strong option as it has rush. It puts a body on the board, it attacks your opponent, but in certain situations you don't want to take a life, especially in other aggro matchups or into the mirror match. Sometimes it does become difficult to keep a strong life while taking on the aggressive hits, and you need to develop bodies that your opponent can't swing into. So Hody Jones, very, very strong in its own way, while DMG is strong in its own way. They're both very great cards though, so it really depends on what you choose to play and your play style, but you definitely need to have one of those in your deck. Smoker is an option that a lot of people used early in the meta in the East, but now have cut from the list a little more. Some people run it as a 1 or 2 of, as it's an amazing option that's a 5-cost 7k character. Banish, it's slash searchable in the deck, and it has the activate main set up to one of your Dawn as active. Then you cannot set Dawn cards as active during using other characters' effects this turn. So basically it stops your Cavendishes and your Mihawks, but the thing is that I can tap 8 for Mihawk, play it down on the board, restand my 4 Dawn with Mihawk first, and then use my Smoker after. So you can use your Cavendish and Mihawk first, you just have to use your Smoker after at the end of it, and then you get that 1 Dawn back. It's really good to have the Banish. A 5-cost 7k Banish is always going to be strong, and then setting a Dawn as active is also great. Well, I think it's time for our visual learners to really visualize me winning some games with a deck profile and then some games on the sim. So here is your Zoro gameplay and deck profile. Well, here I am going to show you our 4 total lists for today. These are going to be 4 totally different lists, and they all have different things about them that you may like, you may not like. So this is going to be a lot of options for you guys. Now, of course, just keep in mind, Cavendish is going to be a 4 in this deck, and these cards are $40 a piece. So if you do want to play Zoro, you will have to shell out some money from the start, just for the Cavendishes alone. If you're a lucky player who already has them, good for you. If you do not have them, they will be reprinted in, I believe, October in Premium Booster 2, which will basically just be a reprint set where these Cavendishes will be readily available for anybody. So this may just be a good option to look to in the future if you're not ready to shell out that kind of money for a leader. Now, you can always get rid of Cavendish and go for a different character. There are characters who are not as strong as Cavendish and don't do what Cavendish does, and you can put them in there instead. We were talking about Smoker earlier, which Smoker obviously is not nearly as good as Cavendish. Not at all. I want that to be very aware. No counter on this card. It's a 5-drop 7k. It only restands 1 Dawn. Cavendish is used over and over and over again because it's every single time you swing. It's really, really good. So personally, I would not prefer Smoker at all, but it's a budget option if you want a budget-friendly way to play Zoro at the moment. Other than that, the list is going to be pretty standard across the board for most of them. They're all going to have a little bit of differences in here as we go through the deck. So we have 4 of that Hiyori Searcher we were talking about, 4 of the Perona Searcher, 4 of the Koshiro we were talking about, 4 of the Toshigi. We have 4 2k counters of Shimatsuki Kozaburo, which is basically just a rested 2-cost character and then KO a 1-cost rested character. It comes up to get rid of chump blockers, but mainly it's just slash searchable, and there's not too many other slash targets. Now, I will have others that we can use in future deck profiles when you look forward, but just keep that in mind that that's basically why this card's in the deck. To continue on, though, we are running 4 of the Kawina, 4 of this Zoro right here, which we have not talked about. This Zoro is specifically for the mirror match. When this card is in your hand, it cannot be played by an effect. So we cannot cheat it out with the 3-cost Mihawk, which cheats out slash attribute characters right here. It is a 2k counter, and it will play out a slash attribute with a cost of 4 or less. So it specifically basically is just made, hey, you cannot play this out with Mihawk, because that's, I think, the only option at the moment, but maybe I'm missing one, unless you're playing a 7-drop blocker Luffy, which plays out a Straw Hat Crew type, which I guess that would also work. But for this card, it says if your leader has a slash attribute, this card cannot be KO'd in battle by slash attribute character cards and gains plus 1000 power. So basically, you just can't kill this card. That is the big thing for Zoro. It is unremovable with slash attribute cards, meaning leaders or characters. So in the mirror match, it's a stagnant body that will never leave the board. I think this card is very important, especially for that mirror matchup alone. So you have to play this card as a 4 of. It's also really good into people who value their board. So what you'll deal with in a lot of games against good players is they won't play anything down early in the game because they know you'll just get a lot of value resting it and swinging into it, and they'd rather not give you that additional value. Basically, they just lose cards in hand, so they're better off just swinging big or playing searchers and going on with their day. So it gives you an option to play on 4 when you don't want to set up with Kawina and you don't want to just put up a Toshigi, or maybe you already have. Maybe you don't have Cavendish because you don't have anything you want to rest with Toshigi. There will be awkward moments that Zoro does come up as a great option to play on the board. Of course, we already talked about Cavendish. Toshigi is a 4 of in every single list. This card's amazing. We have 4 of the Nekomamushi, and this is a card we'll pause and talk about as it is a slash attribute searchable 2k counter with no effect, but it's a 6-drop 7k power character. And I was really unaware of why people actually play this card, but I slowly started to figure out that as you set up the game, going from Cavendish into Mihawk, well, you have a character that says you cannot play 7-cost or higher characters. It gives you an option when there's nothing to rest on the board, which usually by this point in the game, you already have cards that are sideways on your opponent's board, so you don't have to rest them down with Toshigi. Or maybe you already used your Toshigi on turn when you went to 7 Dawn, so you go Cavendish on 5 Dawn, Toshigi on 7 Dawn, as we talked about before, and then on 9 Dawn, you play down Mihawk. Well, now you restand the 4 Dawn, you get 2 Dawn back as active, and now you have Nekomamushi as an option to play on the board as a 6-cost character because you have 6 rested Dawn. Now you can play it on the even curve, you can play it on the odd curve, you can go Cavendish into Mihawk going 6 into 8, and that will work as well. So it's just an option to put a body on the board when your opponent's not spamming out the board, or maybe where you don't need to use your leader effect just yet, as we talked about. It's okay. It's not necessary in the deck. This is not a great 2k counter. It's a value 2k counter, so if you just need to save on budget options, it's a good card, but I'll show you options in the future list that definitely can be changed out for this Nekomamushi. Now 4 of this Mihawk we talked about that restands 4 Dawn. This card is busted. 4 of the DMG event, and 4 of the Luffy's the man who will become king of the pirates. So that's going to be it for list 1. This is one that we'll have in the comment section. It's not running Hody Jones. If you go in the description of the video, not the comment section, but if you go in the description of the video, this list specifically will be there, and you can change it how you like. This is the video, this is the list that I've gone a lot recently, or, oh wait, sorry, this won't be the list that's in the description. The list that's in the description is the final list that we go over, but this is something that I've been running with for a while. I just have found a few tweaks and changes here and there. Here is list number 2, and the big change is they lowered the Kawinas down a good bit, and I don't really know what else. They changed Kawamatsu and the other guy, Nekomamushi, and then they added in Hody Jones for this list. 0-cost events, a lot changed in this list. And then 4 of the X-Drake. So we'll start going through, obviously everything here is the same for the most part as far as I can tell. They did cut out the Zoro, the 4-drop Zoro we were talking about earlier. I think that card is definitely necessary in the deck, but this person might have had a different matchup spread than we do. Maybe they didn't have a lot of Zoros at their locals because this was a 5-0 locals winner. We took a few deck lists from One Piece top decks or whatever it's called. So this is what we're rocking with here. Now, we are running 4 of the X-Drake 2K counters, so this deck list does run a lot of 2K counters going 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 technically. And so this card just says, if your leader has a supernova type, rest up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters, then set one of your Dawn as active at the end of your turn. Basically just putting our 1 cost events active, which is very nice. It's also a good card as a 2K counter. It's a good card to put on 5 when you don't actually have something to play. Sometimes that will come up, but with running 8, usually you do, especially with running 8 searchers as well. You can usually find what you need, but it is an option nonetheless. Or it's something good to play in the late game and go for lethal, because we can tap out for 5 playing this, resting a 5 cost blocker, putting 5 Dawn on our leader and swinging 15, 15, 15, or 10, 10, and that's always a good option. You clear some board, swing big, do what you need to do. So X-Drake, it's out there, it's a good card. I don't know if it's the best, but it is slash searchable, which is always nice, and it actually has an ability, something like Kawamatsu. Now, we have 4 of the Hody Jones in this list and only 3 of the Mihawks. Now, a lot of people do this, and these are the people who are running the 0 cost event, are the people who run a lot of these characters, because you run bricks in the 3 cost event, the Mihawk, and the Hody Jones. I don't personally think the 0 cost event's necessary, but we're going to rock with it today in the final list. But it just says you may trash 1 card from your hand. Your leader or one of your characters gain plus 3,000 during this battle. It's a really good option for turning non-counter cards into 2Ks, and then this giving you basically an extra 1K. So it basically goes 2K, 1K with this card and a brick in hand that you weren't going to use as counter. Or you can use it with a 1K character and then turn this into a 3K total. So turn this card into the 2K and then still use the 1K counter for something like a Kuina. So it's a great card, but it's not super necessary in a deck like this, in my personal opinion, where you're running already 16 2Ks, because we are also running the Tashigi as a brick, but we're not running the Smoker, we're not running many other things. So we have, what, 4, 5, 6 maybe, if we don't have a Dawn active, 9, 13, 17, so maybe 2 out of 5 cards in our hand are usually going to be bricks. So maybe that is a lot. Maybe I understand it for this kind of deck profile, but also you can always use the 1 Dawn events. We're going to be using this leader. This card is busted, so we're going to be using this a lot. I don't know. Altogether, this is going to be list number 2 that you can definitely work around if you want to. We're going to get into list number 3. List number 3 is pretty similar for the most part, except instead of the extra 2K Kawamatsu, they're only running 12 2Ks and they're running 4 of the Izo, which just says rest one of your opponent's cost 4 or less. We're not running the X-Drake in this list, and we upped our Kuina to 3. We're still not running that 4-drop Zoro I told you about, which I think if you're going against a lot of Zoros, you need to be playing that as at least a 2-of. I think 2-of is honestly fine, because you can always mulligan and search through the deck for it, as it is slash attribute searchable. But nonetheless, I would just say finding that card's very key. The Kuina is also pretty nice. I think this card is not a 4-of in the deck. A lot of lists run this as a 4-of. It is busted, don't get me wrong. This card is really freaking good, but I don't think it's the most necessary option, especially when you play into actually good players, as we talked about earlier, where they're not putting bodies on the board, not putting 4-cost low-end bodies, and in a meta with blue-purple Luffy, which we currently deal with, which may be banned in the future. We're not too sure. It really depends on how the meta forms and what you're playing against. Queen is great, or it's not. It just depends. Now, other than that, it's still the same 3 Mihawks, 4 Hody Jones, 2 of the Dead Man games as well. We can always run Paradise Waterfall instead. We can always go lower in Hodys. We can always change things around. There's a lot of options with this deck. It's something I really enjoy. Izo is a ranged target. It is not slash searchable, so just keep that in mind, because obviously Izo is a gun wielder in the show. Rest up to one of your opponent's cost 4 or less, though, is very good, especially for only 3 Dawn, where most of the blockers we deal with are 4-cost characters. Or it's a 3 Dawn, you rest 3 Dawn, you set up with the Kuina later on, so then you get those 3 Dawn with Kuina, and then you swing really big into a 4-cost character. I know that's very niche, very specific, and probably doesn't come up, but it's an option to rest the 3 Dawn and then get the 3 Dawn back as rested with Kuina. Just an idea to put out there. So, I don't know. Then we rest 2 4-cost characters, but then we can only swing it once with the leader, so it doesn't do too much there, I guess. Unless we add the 2 characters together, then they're 8 costs, right? No, it does not work like that. Don't get any ideas. So, anyways, this is going to be list number 3, and then the finalized list that we're going to be rocking here on the channel is going to be Zoro Final. This is my personal list. This one actually does have the Tashigis, it has the Zoros, it has 3 of the Kuinas, it's got 3 of the X-Drakes. It's a little all over the place, but I hope you guys enjoy it. I think this is going to be the best option starting off, just because you don't know exactly what you're going to go against. So it gives you options into every single sort of situation we've kind of gone over, where you have the Tashigi to put down early in cards in matchups that are blue, that have very strong bottom decking and bouncing abilities. We have the X-Drake here to rest 5-cost characters, which is actually searchable as a 2K counter that's searchable. That's always nice, because now we have what, 7 searchable 2K counters plus the 2 0 cost events. Running 2 Hody Jones because we have 2 Dead Man games. This card is not searchable, but DMG is always going to be searchable and something we can find. I think 3 of the Mihawk's perfect because you don't need Mihawk in many matchups, but there are some times where obviously you do. So we have it in there. We're able to run, what, 13 2K counters, which is plenty. We have a lot of searching in the deck with our 8 searchers. We have a lot of KO removal safety. We have removal of our own. We can rest cards a lot. We have stuff for the mirror match. We have the Kawina. I feel like this is a very good standard list to go across the board. The only thing I would say possibly change is maybe going to 2 Kawinas and 3 Hody Jones, but I think that's something we should see by the end of this video. Come back, finalize the deck list one more time just to make sure everything's good, but I think you're itching for some matches at this point. I hope this is very helpful. If you want to see this with other leaders, please comment down below as we can do it with other leaders from OP12, giving you a more deep dive, few deck profiles, and a lot of learning for newer players, intermediate players, and hey, maybe even a few skilled players who already know a lot about the deck and just want to get a little more info and a different point of view. So here is Slash Attribute, swinging heavy, board wiping Zoro. He's ready to go 3 sword style. I'm ready to play some games, so let's get into some games on the sim and then end the deck list at the end. As you can see, this is actually ranked. We're going to get that out of the way for you guys so you don't have to deal with it the whole time. And this is going to be a very fun one. Of course, going against Purple Black Luffy, we are going to always take away first. We have some early setup going first and searchers, so we have options. I think we're going to keep this hand because we have the option to search through the deck. So we're going to need to find something to get rid of the big Luffy, which we're going to do on 7 Dawn when they go into 6. So, or maybe they're at 8 at that point. Who really knows? I think we can go to Shigi. They don't run too much removal. They could really rest it down. So we're going to Hiyori on the next turn. So I think that's going to make me want to grab Tashigi, but this is DMG and Hody. So I think actually I changed it up really quick. Because it's purple, we're going to have to go DMG because we were going to lose a Hody and a DMG. So we know we're running 4 of those total. We lose half of them. The odds of us finding one anytime soon is very low statistically. So we went ahead and did what we had to do. So, hey, it is what it is. We're going to swing in. It looks like probably we're going to go 5 at our opponent. Well, we don't have a way to find another searcher, so I guess we're just going to go 6 at our opponent here and then play down the Hiyori. There's not really a 1-cost character we can find with Hiyori we'd want to play down other than maybe another Hiyori. And if we're finding another Hiyori and that's what we're playing, that's not that great. So we're going to search the top 5, and now we find that Tashigi we were looking for. So we had 3 Tashigis left, but only 2 of the 1-cost event or Hody Jones. So now we're going to go ahead and grab that Tashigi just as an option to play later. If anything, we can always go X-Drake on the next turn if we need to. Finding a Cavendish would have been really good for this matchup, but obviously we didn't. They're going to swing 2 into 0. We're going to let that go. They're going to swing into our face probably with 7K to 8K, depending on if they go Zoro or not. It depends on if they find the ramp. If they find the ramp, obviously, for them, they're going to go Nico Robin, Dawn -2, ramp 2. So then basically they're at 5 Dawn. They can just put all the Dawn on leader. They could play down to the Robin. Robin won't really be great if they did that, but I assume they were just going to swing big. We're going to take that aggressively and find basically exactly what we need. So we're going to go and swing into the Law here because we might as well swing 2 into 2. If they give it to us, cool. If not, that's fine too. We're going to go ahead and swing in for 7. I think we're going to fully commit on this one. We didn't play the Tashigi because it's not worth swinging into Nico Robin. But now we have a lot of opportunity with this Beer Luffy coming down on this next turn, or what should be Beer Luffy, to basically just take it out. So the plan is to Shigi, Cavendish, get our Dawn back, so then we can basically go very heavy. We can go 11K into their Beer Luffy here, and you'll see it happen right now. So this is going to be very important. They will be able to up the cost, but Tashigi specifically states original cost 6 or less, and gives our leader back 3 Rested Dawn, meaning we have 2 more Rested Dawn after this. It's pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and counter out of this attack because I don't want to deal with going too low, especially against a pretty aggressive deck here, but we'll take that second one. We do find another Tashigi we can use in the future. We're gonna rest down the character, attach 3 Dawn. We're gonna be able to swing for about 6 into the Nico Robin here, restand the 2 Dawn. If they let it go, cool. If not, that's fine as well. Now we can choose what we want to do. Do we want to go 9? Do we want to go all the way? And in my opinion, I'm just going all the way. I might as well. If they want to give me 3 2K counters here, that's totally okay with me, because then I'm going to hit them in the face. But no matter what, now we just restand the leader and then hit them heavy in the face. They get 1 card back, but you can see the pressure that just put on. We got 3 2K counters here. We've seen 4 total, 5 total 2K counters, meaning we're probably not going to see many 2K counters. Now, they're going to force us to discard 2 cards. We weren't thinking about this, to be honest. But now we know we're going to deal with a 8K and then a 9K into Cavendish. That's going to be 2K, 2K, and then 2K, 2K. So we're going to go Tashigi next turn, meaning we need to drop, sadly, I think we drop DMG, and it depends on if we want to save the Cavendish or not. I think we wouldn't have dropped that if we weren't going to save the Cavendish. So I guess we're going to save the Cavendish. We committed to it. You don't have to save the Cavendish, by the way. What we're about to do, we're not going to be able to save the Cavendish because they're going to go 9-9. Maybe they go 9-9. Maybe they go 8-10. 8-10 definitely gets it. It looks like 8-10 here. Maybe leaving 1 Dawn active is also another option here. We are going to go 2K, 2K. I don't know if this is correct, guys. I'm going to be 100% real with you. They're going to go 8 again, leaving 2 Dawn active. Well, we're going to make sure we keep this guy, I guess. I'm going to go 5. I'm going to rest the Nico Robin. We're going to go 3 rested Dawn. And then I'm going to go, do I go 9? I think I'm going to go 9 because them having the 2 Dawn active. We're going to go 9, 9, 9 into these characters here. And we're basically just going to wipe the board and take a life from them because 9 would be Gum Gum Giant, 9 would be Gum Gum Giant, and then they have to get out of another 9K attack. And they let the Beer Luffy go. So we're going to go ahead and swing with the Zoro first. We're going to go 9 into their character, knowing that we can restand this. They're going to play Black Spiral, nullifying our leader effect, right? So that means we can no longer restand. This is a very interesting tech option a lot of decks are playing. Not one I expected, as I was expecting to see, obviously, a Gum Gum Giant. So we're going to go another 9 to Nico Robin. It stops us from restanding and attacking them. But at the end of the day, we have a complete board. They're able to wipe out 1 unit from our board, and they put down a Frankie blocker. Well, we have the X-Drake here. They discard the Gum Gum Giant, draw 2 cards, ramp Dawn. They have 7 Dawn left. They're just going to go heavy. They're going 10 into the body. Well, fun fact, they could have actually just gotten rid of it for anything else. And guess what? I'm going to Hody Jones. I'm going to rest this and 1 Dawn. I'm okay dealing with 1 Gum Gum Giant, but not a Black Spiral. We're on 10 Dawn, so we're going to go and go 8 into the Frankie, trying to remove it off the board. We're going to restand just to make sure we have our leader effect. We're just going to hit them with the 7, 7, 8, 8. And we should be pretty safe. They would need double rush options to win the game. They're going to Gum Gum Giant out of this, ditching one of the Gum Gum Giants. Now we just go 8 in the face. They would need 2K, 2K to survive. They should take this first attack, and then they need to counter out of this one or the game is just over. If they give us 2 2Ks, they should not have any more 2Ks, and they should not have double rush. Now, they do have the Luffy, but we have 2K, 1K. They need to hit us 3 total times, and the math only works that it's going to be 7, 8, 7, 8. We have 2K, 1K, so that they don't clear our board or put down a chump blocker. We're going to take this and kind of in. We know this is going to have to be 8K, but we have 2K, 1K, 1K, so we can take this attack as well. Well, now we have 2K, 2K. We're totally fine to take the attacks, and we're perfectly safe. That's going to be a good game to our opponent, and that's game over. GG's, and that's how you beat Purple Black Luffy. I know that's a very drawn out game, but that's kind of the concept. You have to swing into board aggressively, and I think saving that Cavendish is really what helped us maintain pressure after the Nico Robin. That forced us to a lower hand size. It's really hard to play around Nico Robin, so usually I like to build up a large hand size and just accept, hey, I am going to have to ditch 2 cards later, because after a while they have to stop valuing hitting your life, and they have to force your board a little more. So they almost had the out there with the Luffy, but of course we knew we had the counter for it. Good game to our opponent. Let's go on to another match. Hey, this is all that's on the ranked sim right now, so we're going to play this, and then we're going to play 1 unranked match, just to help out and give us some more options. So we're going to go into Purple Black Luffy again. Let's see if we can get this win. It is not the easiest matchup. I mean, purple is always hard for just about any deck, and they will have the going first curve, so it's going to help you learn when your opponent goes first what you should do to set up. Now, we know this is a strike attribute character. The Zoro doesn't do much, but we do have a lot of searchers. But I'm not as fancy about this hand because we're not going to do much with the Zoro. We are going second, so it does give us a second option, though. I think we'll keep and just see what we can do going forward with it. We're going to play out the Hiyori. That's going to force them, if they don't have a searcher, to swing their swing into our Hiyori. They do have the Law, so they're going to be able to swing the Law into our Hiyori. Now, that's not as good. We do have our very important event right here. And yeah, let's see what we can cook up. We're going to go Hiyori early just to look at the top 5. And now we're going into 4 into 5. So I think we're going to grab a Cavendish in this circumstance. I'm going to go Zoro first and then Cavendish next. It's an option. It's not the greatest, I'm not going to lie. We're not in the best spot. I'm going to scoot this over so you can see my hand a little bit better down here, because for some reason we were a little too far to the side. So here we're going to take 2 into 0. We're not going to counter out of that. It's not worth it because then they just go 5 into 0. Now they're going to go 7 into face. We're going to have to take that pretty aggressively. And this is where the queen is very strong. So if we can get the queen off the top, that'd be nice. Of course we don't. Why would we? So we can just go for searching. We can go for, I mean, we have options. At the end of the day, though, the best thing to do is probably just put another body on the board. We're going to swing 5, just get a card out of our opponent's hand. I think that's going to be the best option here. And then we'll continue on with the game. They're only going into 6 Dawn. They could force us to discard 2 cards very early here, which would be really bad. If they go 6 drop Nico Robin, it puts us in a pretty bad spot. So just know if that hits us, it's looking tough. It's looking rough and tough, and we're going to have to figure it out from there. We will have the ability to rest it down, but they have a lot of cards in hand, so won't be as strong as we'd like, of course, but we're definitely going to have to keep the Tashigi. We may not have time for the Cavendish if that does occur, and then we're going to need the 3-cost event to kind of finish it off in the end. So if they do get the Nico Robin, we need to start hitting face very hard and putting on the aggression. So we'd drop probably the 1-drop Verona and the Shimatsuki. I don't think those would be necessary in that situation. We'll hold the Cavendish just in case. We'll still have another 2K counter and the 0-cost event in case we need it with the the man who's going to be King of the Pirates in case the Nico Robin does come out. Right now, I think that would be the obvious answer, or maybe they're deciding between Beer Luffy and the Nico Robin. Personally, I go Nico Robin first. Personally, which I think is a lot stronger just because now it goes ahead and gets cards out of our hand early and gives us less option to dick. They choose to go with the Beer Luffy, which maybe that's what they had, maybe that's exactly what they needed. We're gonna have the Tashigi on curve like we need, so we will or should have the ability to remove it. They did go Dawn -2, ramp 2. It's not gonna be as strong. We're gonna go ahead and give them I guess we'll counter this. It's not gonna be a bad option to counter for sure. And they're gonna swing 5 at us. We could start lowering our hand size now pretty aggressively. But the only issue is we're going to Shigi next turn. I think we're going to take one of these attacks. Because no matter what, we were going to use a 2K. But I want a bigger hand size rather than a smaller one. So what we're going to do now is rest the Luffy. We're going to go 3 Dawn on the leader. I'm going to swing 6 into the Zoro just to get a 2K out of hand. And then we're going to go 9 into Luffy and then 9 into face. Literally, I'm just trying to get cards out of hand, which is gold. So look at that. 2K, 1K, perfect. We're going to restand the leader and then just swing 9 into face because now they're going to have the ability to restand. They are going to play down this blocker we're going to have to deal with, and that's going to be kind of annoying. We won't have the Tashigi for the blocker. They go Onami, meaning they never had the Nico Robin, which is very good for us in this situation. I mean, honestly, that puts us way further ahead than I expected us to be. We will have to counter out of this attack, sadly. And I think we're going to go... I don't want to get rid of anything on this right side of my hand. But I would love to be able to search through the deck to find DMG. But I don't want to go 2K because we don't know what they're going to throw at us. We have no idea what else they could throw at us. But the right answer is to counter this, I believe. Because we know at least it's going to be a 7K. So we're going to go ahead and go with the 3K counter there with the 0-cost event. Either showing them the idea that we don't have a lot of 2Ks or any 2Ks at all. Now they're going to go 8 into Zoro. We will let Zoro go. I think we're okay losing this off the board because they're going to be 7 and 7, and I don't want to have to commit Dawn to him every turn. While Tashigi we don't have to commit Dawn to at the moment. Now they're going to go Zoro. They can Dawn -1, ramp 1, which I guess makes sense, yeah. They're going to play down the Law Blocker, sit on 1 Dawn. Great options altogether. So what we're going to have here is, could go Cavendish for 5, restand 2. Now we have 5 left. We could go 9... 8. It's not great. I think we're gonna go Koshiro here. So we're gonna go 7 into the Beer Luffy, get a card out of hand, or 7 into face. I think Beer Luffy. Force a card out of hand, then we're gonna go 8 into Beer Luffy and then 8 into face. I think those are our best options here. We can save these 3-cost events for the next turn because we're probably gonna get a blocker out of them out of one of these attacks. And then, so this will be a 2K counter here. Because of course we're going to swing the 8 into the body, and now we're not giving them the opportunity to know what exactly we're about to play. We'll also, by playing this many cards, kind of rid of the effect of Nico Robin, which is really nice. They go ahead and Gum Giant down to 6, so they're not going to be going to a high Dawn count. Now we're going to be able to play down the character, and now we have less than 5 in hand. They're going to be at 8 Dawn. The Nico Robin has a lot less value now because of our hand size, so we're going to pass turn at that. Not too much else we can... We didn't swing into face. We didn't swing our leader into face. Well, that was silly. You ever just blank like that? Whoops. That could actually be the changing tide of the game. Sometimes you just forget on the sim things like that. I've done it in person too with like playing Bonnie. Sometimes you just forget to leader effect and then you basically just lose because of it. So possibly getting that 2K counter or them taking that life would have been the extra step. They would actually probably have 1 less blocker at the moment if we would have done things correctly. So keep that in mind as we continue on. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst. They only have 4 Dawn now, so we know we don't have to worry about this Nico Robin coming down this turn. They're going to swing 7 at us, and I think we're going to have the chance to just take this first attack. We have a 1K now. We don't have to worry about the Nico Robin because there's only 5, so they're going to swing another 7. We will 2K, 1K out of this attack, and then they're going to swing possibly pretty large. Oh, they're going to go 5? Interesting. Did not expect that, but of course I think that was actually a good play rather than going, 9, because obviously we're just going to block out of the 9. And then I think we just block out of this attack, sadly. Ooh, Dead Man's Game's pretty good here. I don't know that it gets us where we need it to be. It's going to be restand 2 Dawn, right? Now we go 3 Dawn on Leader, and then we have 5 Dawn after that, so we can go 10. We can go 9. So we can go 7, 7, 9, 9, 9. It's not horrible, and I think it's what we're going to have to do here. Rest, rest. We're going to be able to swing 7, restand 2. Then it's going to be 7, 7, 9, 9. Now we're going to go 7 into Beer Luffy. I'm okay with him having the blockers because basically it's just gone with our leader effect. That's going to get 1 card out of our opponent's hand. Now we're going to be able to go 9. So now this is very important for you people who want to learn Zoro. They're going to 0 cost event. So we can't restand with the leader effect. We have to use the stage first or we lose the ability to attack into 8 cost or lower characters. Now we get to remove their body off the board and then finally attack them for another 9k. That's pretty good. Now we pass turn. So our opponent's turn, we're in a pretty good spot. But after that, I mean, right here, they're basically just saying, I'm going for game. So they're going to have the same thing we saw before, 7, 7, 9, 9. We don't have the Dawn. If we did have the 1 Dawn active, we'd actually be safe, but we probably wouldn't have removed the body off the board. That's going to be GG's. They did have the out here, the 8k counter. GG's to our opponent. They had to go for it. They could have left, actually, they probably could have left 4 Dawn active for Judgment of Hell or gone for just swinging with the Sanji and kind of what they needed to. I don't know. I think they had options there, especially with 2 blockers on the board, but it is what it is. GG's to our opponent. I think us not just putting that 9, because if you look at their hand, I mean, maybe that would have literally been the saving grace. So just keep that in mind as we continue on with these games. Sometimes misplays do happen. I think that was pretty good to learn. It's good to learn from your mistakes. And so if you're watching this trying to learn the game, you're like, oh, why am I taking him serious? He makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. It's one of those games. Hey, on to the next one. That's all you can say. To give you that third match right here, we're going to take on the big bad boy, blue purple Luffy. This is a horrible starting hand, so we're going to mulligan that every single day of the week. And we're going second, so I think this will do a little better. We're going to Kosho early and just pass. We don't have a searcher. Usually I like to have a searcher early. I'm not going to lie to you, but we'll kind of take what we get. We'll go ahead and take this attack. I like that. You know, it helps us rest down things and stuff. And that's not great, I'm not going to lie to you. But hey, it is what it is. We're going to have to just go Zoro, pass. Usually a Kuina is really nice in this matchup to get rid of the Zoro. I'm not going to lie, because obviously they like to take first. So in case you don't get first, it gives you an answer into the Zoro. If not, you can go to Shigi into Zoro on the 3rd turn if you go first. But yeah, it kind of puts us pretty behind here, or puts them very ahead that they're going to be able to get 1 Dawn ramped for free. Basically just going from 5 to 6 for free if they want to, and they get to put on a lot of extra pressure. Now, they may have a ramping event. They may have a way to KO the Zoro. We really don't know. I really don't know if they're even here. All right, they're back. They decided to gain their 2 Dawn, and let's see what they decide to do. What I would do is probably swing 5 with Zoro, 6 with lead, and then play out a 5-cost Nami or a 5-cost event, maybe popping the Zoro and then ramping an active Dawn, meaning they go into 8 Dawn on their next turn, 9 Dawn on their next turn, meaning they're already playing 9-cost characters by the time we're not even near that. And hey, they're going to go Nami first, then swing for 4, and then swing for 7, which I guess is an option. I would have rather have gone, I don't think that's correct. I think it would have been better to go the other way around, but that's part of learning whatever deck you're playing. We are going to go to Shigi, rest down Nami, swing into Nami, 6 into Zoro, we're going to swing into Nami, we're going to try to remove their board basically, or remove cards from hand and put some pressure onto their face. We do have the restand event for later, so we're going to start with the Tashigi just to go ahead and rest the Nami, and then give the 3 rested Dawn. We're going to then do the 6 into the Zoro, and now we're sitting in a much better spot. Not really worried if they counter out. I'm kind of okay with it, not getting rid of the Nami, or just getting cards out of hand, whatever we need to do, but they do not counter out. Now we're going to go 8 into face here. They should probably just take, And then I'm just going to plop down this Hiyori to kind of set up for next turn. Because next turn we're going into 8, so we'll be able to search. We'll be able to do everything we need to. We can either Kuina, we can Mihawk. We have a lot of options on this next turn. So I like having this Hiyori on the board. It's not a 2K counter, so it doesn't really bother me to just put it down. Now, thinking about ramping up with this event. Like, what are we doing here? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Hello? All right, no trigger. We're going to play down the Hiyori and pass. They're still doing work outside my house. I don't know if you heard it earlier in the video, but they are weed eating or something. Well, out of my apartment, not house, but it is what it is. We were able to hit them for 1 damage. They're going to be at 9 Dawn now. We're sitting in a pretty good spot. They're at 8 Dawn, sitting in a good spot. They ramped their 1. They go to 8. They didn't have a double ramp, so they're at 8. They can Katakuri here. We could swing Katakuri. They can't, basically just forces them not to be able to block, because if they do block, we just swing it twice. We could Mihawk. They played on Sanji for 6. That means they're probably pretty bricked up. We're going to go ahead and give them a 1K counter Kuina here. And I'm not really worried about this Sanji. I'd rather put the extra piled on pressure. So we're going to tap out. We're going to restand 4. We're going to be able to search the top 5. We're going to grab a restand event's pretty good in this matchup to finish it off. And we have a lot of counter already. The Tashigi would be nice for something to play down though. But I think we're going to have... I think I'm going to go restand event. This is going to be crazy. Trust. It's for later. It's for later. Trust me. So we're going to swing in for 6. They're going to counter out for 1. We're going to swing in for 7. They're going to counter out for 2 or maybe block. It wouldn't be bad to go ahead and block. They definitely don't want to block later. They're going to give us the Thunder Bagua to ramp it to 9. Not that important. Now we're going to swing in for 8. They're just going to have to take that because obviously you can't block or we just restand our leader. And then we're just going to pass. Now we have 2 blockers on the board. We have a lot of counter and we have 2 of the restand events. We're kind of set up. I think next turn we could just Koshiro, block out of whatever we need to have an extra spot on the board, play down another Koshiro, and then swing a bunch. I mean, the only issue is we don't have a Cavendish down, which would be nice, because then we go 6-6, and then we have to go only 7. That's not that great. So we have to go 8. We can go 8-8-8. 6 into 6. I'm just going to block out with 8. If I need to counter, I will, but I'd rather not. 9 drop into 10 drop. Well, now we can just block out with the Koshiro. We probably lose the Sanji into the Hiyori. They can swing 10 into 7. We're just going to block out of that attack. And then they're just going to leave the 1 Dawn active, leave the blocker active. Makes sense to me. I'm trying to math this out. Well, let's grab another card because we can. Now we could do the Tashigi. That'd be 5. We'd get 3 back. And then we'd still have a restand and then 8. So we'd have 6, 8, 8, 8, 8. I don't hate Tashigi here, actually. It's going to get some cards out of hand for sure, and they have not leader affected yet, I believe, so we're in a pretty good spot to go Tashigi, rest, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go 8 into the Sanji to start. I'm okay with counter out. I don't care if they do or not. They obviously don't. So now we're just going to go 6. We're going to go 8. Basically, I'm just trying to take all these cards out of their hand. We're going to go another 8, because I'm okay committing the blocker here. This is only 10, so 11 doesn't really get us there. So we're just going to go 8, restand, and swing 8. Counter, 2K, 2K, and then pass. So we still have a restand event. We're sitting on 9K counter, and we have a full board. A searcher, we have a blocker that's sideways, but we still have a blocker. We got a lot of cards out of hand. They grab an Uso Hachi. I mean, what can they really play out? They could do 9 cost Lin Lin, which would be pretty good because you don't have a Tashigi on the board. They can remove a body for sure, but I think I'm too worried about it. They're all strike attributes. They can remove the Zoro pretty easily. They can, you know, swing, 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 rush, swing. But if they do that, they don't put a blocker, so they can't go rush. Yeah, I don't really know. I think we're just going to go in for the game next turn, honestly. I mean, with what they've already shown us, I think we just save the board as much as we can, because this game's basically over. I just want to finish this next turn. I don't have to finish it next turn, by the way. They're going to Gravity Blade here, remove 2 bodies off the board. That's kind of fine. They leave 3 Dawn active. If they triple Gum Gum Giant, I think we're okay, because we have Searcher still. 3 Dawn active is crazy. And the Hody Jones. But I don't even think Hody Jones is the option, like the answer here, because we don't even know if they're bluffing those. I think we're better just going literally 7, 12, 12. So we'll just swing 7. We'll swing 8. And then we're just going to go 12, 12. This is going to force out a Gum Gum Giant. I think it's basically guaranteed at that point. Gum Gum Giant. They're going to have to double Gum Gum Giant out of this one. And then they can't have 12k counters. They only have 3 cards. So they Gum Gum Giant, Gear 2, we restand, and then we just swing another 12. GG's, that's a lot of pressure for the Blue Purple Luffy to handle. and they couldn't handle it. So that's basically it for the blue-purple Luffy. You can see this really dominates blue-purple Luffy as a matchup. I think this is a really good matchup for us, so that's going to be 3 blue or 3 purple matchups we went through. Obviously, there's a lot of other matchups we could take on, and if you want to see more Zoro, we have already done more Zoro on the channel. Just go link in the description, go subscribe, all that good jazz. But yeah, that was Zoro. Let's go into the finalized deck profile, see if there's anything we would change or anything we want to work with in the future, and go from there. To finish off the video, here is the deck list, and I don't know how much I would actually change or what I'd want to really do. I mean, I like the X-Drake in here as an option, but as we saw, it wasn't necessary, that's for sure. Now, it would have won us the purple-black Luffy matchup if we didn't top deck that Hody. We would have just played this out for 5, swung 10 into the Frankie, restand the leader, swing 10 into the leader, and we would have had the additional life so that the 6-drop Luffy wouldn't have killed us on that turn. So basically, that would have been really nice for us. We would have moved the body off the board, we would have swung really heavy, like, would have done a lot even without the Hody Jones there. So X-Drake is good, especially in matchups where we've already gotten all of their resources out of them, and guarantees basically that we just don't lose. Now, I mean, Hody's amazing. We saw it do some work in the matches we needed it, but certain matches we definitely didn't need it, so I don't think removing this as a 4 of or anything really changes anything. Maybe Queen as a 4 of, maybe as a 2 of, maybe as a 3 of. It really depends on the matchup. There is so much to this deck, though. At the end of the day, it's really up to you and your discretion on how you want to build it. I like this list. I think this is a list that I'm going to be rocking with at the start of the meta as we kind of develop things and figure things out. I don't know what I'm least sold on. I love Mihawk, but I haven't found the most value in it. I love Cavendish, but I never feel like I can keep it on the board with protection, so maybe I need to develop my Tashigi sooner. There's a lot that I'm still learning. I'm not sitting here saying I'm even the best Zoro player. I'm just someone who's able to teach you because I'm better than most people. Not most people, like, as in like the high echelon of One Piece meta, but it's a lot of learning. It's a very hard deck to pilot, and there's just a big curve to it. It just feels like I'm still on my way up for sure. Not even close to being one of the best Zoro players out there. It's a lot to learn. So I hope you can take everything and learn at the best of your ability. I hope it helps you become a better Zoro player, and if you do want to see this with other leaders, you just comment it down below so that I can help you out. It helps me out, and it helps the algorithm out to push these videos for free for other people to learn about the One Piece card game and just teach a lot more people about how to play the game altogether. And I just really enjoy doing this, so thank you so much for the support. I hope this Zoro video helped you out. I don't think there's too much I'd change with this list. I'm pretty content with where it's at for now, but maybe we'll tweak some things in the future. I hope these 3 games helped you out, and if you want to see more Zoro, again, just check out the channel down below. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.